Hey y'all, it's me, it's your girl, and you already know. Like, share, and subscribe. What's up, real deal? How y'all evening going? Morning going, noon going, night going, whatever it is in your country. Hope everybody's staying cool and positive. Now, before we get into our content, y'all need to go on and do what you're supposed to do. Go ahead on and do it. I'll wait. Y'all know what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to hit the like button, okay? For all that hard work that real deal do while y'all sleep. All right, y'all, we're gonna get into our content for this evening. Day 2 of Sasha Skare murder trial. And the day is what? Day Wednesday. Okay. She is the young lady that was allegedly accused of murdering Martell. He's a rapper, a former rapper, a upcoming rapper, and and they're trying to say she said she didn't do it. Now the wife already testified. So let's see who we're gonna have testifying today. Y'all, please help me out with this case, okay? Please pay attention. It's a whole lot of mess.
You may be seated.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. I hope you had a restful evening. Thank you very much for your patience. We did take care of a couple of matters outside your presence. And you are still on direct with us with the
Detective, when we left off, I asked you questions about Markel's cell phone.
Yes, sir.
And my memory is that you testified that the cell phone had a code, a security code on it,
It did.
and you took steps to obtain the security code.
I'm sorry?
Did you take steps to obtain the security code?
Yes.
And who did you speak to?
Joya.
And did you ask her for the security code?
I did.
And did you use that security code to get into Markel's phone?
Yes.
And we're referencing the phone that was found near Markel.
Yes.
Once you input the security code into the phone, what happened?
It did open up and allowed me access to where I could view text messages, call logs, things of those nature.
Were you able to take photographs of images that you found on the cell phone?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibits 100 through 104. If you can take a look at those exhibits. Do you recognize those exhibits?
Yes, sir.
And did you take photographs of the cell phone that we see here?
Yes.
State of Markel Operating Government States Exhibits 100 through 104.
No objection. States exhibits 100 through 104 are admitted and may be published.
Detective, I'm going to show you case exhibit 100. Can you tell me what we're looking at in case exhibit 100?
That is the keypad in order to input the passcode to gain access to the phone.
And once you gained access to the phone, did you see any sort of communications or text threads associated with the name of Sasha?
Yes, sir.
Let me show you State's Exhibit number 101. In State's Exhibit 101, can you tell me where you see a text thread associated with the name Sasha?
Be about the fifth or sixth one down from the top. You'll see the name Sasha, S-A-S-H-A.
When you saw the name Sasha, did you take steps to open up that text thread and review the message?
Yes,
Did you find text messages that were relevant to your investigation?
I did.
Let me show you State's Exhibit 103. For the benefit of the record, can you tell us what we're looking at on the screen right now?
This is the text thread from the victim to the defendant.
So on the image, on the cell phone at the top, we see a text thread associated with the name Sasha, correct?
Yes,
We commonly refer to that as a contact by the name of Sasha.
correct.
And on the text thread, we see two text boxes that would be commonly associated with this cell phone sending out a text message, correct?
Yes.
Let me show you State's Exhibit number 104. Can you tell us what we're looking at on the screen?
Those are the last two sent text messages from the victim's phone in that thread to Sasha.
Now, in this exhibit is the text message timestamp.
Yes,
And what timestamp does the text message look like?
it's the very top and it says Friday, Jan 22, and it gives a time of 8:55 p.m.
And can you read the first text message, which appears to have been sent by Marquette?
Yes. If I could just say real quick, there are some words in there that I don't use and I may replace with what it feels a little more appropriate, if that's okay. It begins the first text, bring my gun back and come back, and come get your stuff. You attacked me and defended myself all because I asked you to leave, because you in my bed on the phone with N-words, asking if you still tipsy, F-word is wrong with you, SMH is means shaking my head.
Can you read the second text message or the last text message that you sent?
Yes, sir. You lost ASF shorty, but that's why ain't no helping somebody as lost as you, obviously. I told you take my cars and crib off your page. If you put here entertaining N-words and you put it back up anyway, SMH, shaking my head, when are you going to realize I don't FWU? I don't know what that means. Like that, if you put here entertaining N-words and staying with me at the same time.
Thank you. Now, in the first text message, Markel makes reference to a handgun or a gun, correct?
Yes,
And at the scene, you found an empty gun box, correct?
correct.
And at the scene, you reported that the serial number that was on the gun box, correct?
Yes.
And from your perspective, from a detective's perspective, what is your understanding of the purpose of a serial number on a firearm?
To uniquely identify it.
And do you have the tools or abilities to run a serial number that you have associated with a handgun and to get a visual identification or a weapon similar to the look of it through your whatever tools that you have?
Yeah, in this case, I was able to just based off the make and model of the firearm to research online to see what that firearm looked like.
Yesterday, I gave you a copy of your prosecution guide, and after you left, I took it back. I'm going to give you a copy, State's Exhibit number 99. For the benefit of the record, can you tell us again what the serial number was that you found on the gun box?
The serial number on the gun box was HG940727.
And did you run that serial number through some sort of database to get more information as to the make, model, and caliber of that weapon?
Yes, sir.
And through the course of your investigation, what information was associated with this serial number?
That it was a 9mm handgun, semi-automatic handgun, Smith & Wesson. Let me get back to that page. Springfield XDS model .2. And then it had another model number, XDS G9339S.
Now, through the course of your investigation, were you able to obtain an image of a similar or identical weapon that would be consistent with the serial number and this make and model?
With the make and model, not necessarily with the serial number, but with the make and model.
Let me show you State's Exhibit 105. If you tell me you recognize State's Exhibit 105.
Yes, sir.
And did you create this exhibit?
I did.
So in State's Exhibit 105, we see 3 images, correct?
Yes.
Two of the images, the 2 images on the bottom, where did you obtain those images from?
These are from the crime scene.
Okay. And the third image, can you tell us how you obtained that image?
This was through online research, and this is an image that comes up with that make, model, and model number for that firearm.
And you created State's Exhibit 105?
Yes, sir.
At this time, the state would like to offer evidence in Exhibit 105 as to demonstrate the similar make and model and size of the weapon.
Your Honor, may I ask one question to qualify this? Yes, please. Detective Saiz, did you retrieve this picture of the sample or example of Springfield 9mm for the prosecution, or did the prosecution?
I did, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes.
so that you provided all 3 pictures?
Yes.
Okay, no objection.
State's Exhibit 105 is in and may be published.
Let me show you Detective 105 on the imager. So in State's Exhibit number 5, as we're looking at the screen, can you tell us what we're looking at on the bottom 2 images?
The bottom 2 images on the left is the magazine with the ammunition that was found in the little storage container on the floor near the closet at the crime scene. The image on the right is a photograph of the gun box that was located in the closet on the shelf.
And can you tell us what we're looking at, the image that we're looking at the top of the screen?
At the top is the online search result that I found using the make model information for the firearm from the gun case. That's an image of what that gun would look like.
Okay. During the course of your investigation, did you take steps to submit any particular items of evidence to the Bexar County Crime Lab for analysis?
Yes.
Can you tell us what those items were?
Yes, sir. Just one second here. I'm referring to page 11 of my prosecution guide where they're listed. We had a GSR test kit that was completed on the victim's hands. That was submitted. Some bullet fragments and a projectile were submitted, asking the lab to determine a caliber if possible. An examination of the acrylic fingernail that was found on the bed, a do-rag, some fingernail clippings, Those were submitted requesting analysis for DNA. And that was all. Just to have another listed a lab results report that came back afterwards.
So you received the results of your submissions
Yes, sir.
from various parts of the crime.
Yes.
Did those results in one way or another help assist you in forming an opinion or an assessment about your investigation?
Yes.
And typically, it is your understanding that the individuals that tested these exhibits,
Objection, maybe.
let me ask you this.
That's sustained. If you could please rephrase, Mr. Holmes. Thank you.
Did you have any conversations regarding or review the record, the reports regarding the analysis?
I did.
In these various items?
Yes, sir.
In your review of the text messages, in your review of the door at the crime scene, in your review of the autopsy information, were you in a position to form an assessment as to what path this case should take?
Yes, sir.
And what, can you describe that assessment to us?
It was definitely a homicide, and it was our belief that it was a murder,
Can you expand on that?
that it was intentionally done, and the act that was intentionally done caused the death of the defendant. I'm sorry, the victim.
Through the course of your investigation, were you able to find out if the size of the projectile was determined, that was taken out of Martel?
Yes.
And what size was that?
I was determined it was a 9mm.
And the 9mm is consistent with an ordinary bullet, correct?
Yes.
And for the record, I have to ask, it was consistent with coming from a firearm.
Correct.
At this time, the state will pass Detective Saiz for cross-examination.
Good morning, Detective.
Good morning.
So I need you to refresh my memory from yesterday. I heard that you were with SAPD for 29 years, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been with homicide?
10 years.
Okay, as a detective
Yes, ma'am.
for the last 10 years? And when you're called out to investigate a deceased or a dead body, who makes the decision to, well, let me ask it this way. You make a call into the district attorney's office or the desk person that's on duty, correct? For the district attorney's office?
No.
You
From
don't do that?
when we're at the scene?
Yes,
No, ma'am.
or on or around the time,
No, we typically will do our investigation,
okay?
and once it's completed and we have all the reports, all the workup done, we'll submit a package to the district attorney's office, which they review.
So who makes the decision on charging as murder versus manslaughter or any other type of homicide?
The detective makes a determination, and with the approval of our supervisors, an arrest warrant is requested from a judge. We present our probable cause, and then the judge determines whether or not there's enough or sufficient probable cause to make the charge and have somebody arrested.
In this case, who made that decision?
In this case, myself and my supervisor
Made the decision to charge it as murder?
to request the charge of murder.
Request the charge.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you consult with the district attorney's office to charge that?
Prior to it,
Yes.
no, ma'am.
Okay. Isn't it true that, well, I'm gonna pass that, strike that. When you arrived to the apartment, from the pictures and your investigation, it's clear that there was a fight between people. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes,
Okay. And you would agree that it's different than, let's say, just a ransacked apartment, maybe from a burglary or something like that, right?
correct.
And you would agree that because of the female's belongings there and the broken fingernail on the bed, that led you to believe that it was a struggle between a male or the deceased and a female, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did you notice scratches on Martel's arm and neck?
I saw what I thought were scratches, yes.
Okay. You interviewed a neighbor directly below the apartment. About what date did you interview? I believe it was Quinn Goodman?
Yes, ma'am. She was spoken to the same day we were there, the 26th, January 26th.
Do you take notes as you're doing your investigation, or?
Yes.
Okay. So do you think it was like later in the evening you spoke with Quinn, or?
I believe it was just toward the end of when we were finishing up everything at the crime scene,
Okay.
finishing gathering information.
Was that a door knocking effort, or did they approach you with information?
She approached officers that were outside the crime scene,
Okay.
identified herself, said she might have information we would need. Then I was directed to her.
Okay, and then they passed her along to you?
Yes.
Okay,
And then we met her in her apartment.
and she showed you cell phone videos that she had taken the night of January 22nd?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
And on those cell phone videos, I believe, I'm not sure if it was 2 or 3. Can you correct me? It was 2 or 3 videos she showed you.
I can't remember if it was 2 or 3.
I believe it says in your report that you had one that was around 23 seconds maybe, and another one that was 4 minutes and 7 seconds. Does that sound correct?
That does sound right.
Okay. And on the longer one, your videos or your notes indicate that the 23-second video captured nothing, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, I think there are 3 videos or audios, because there's another one that is talking about hearing what sounded like banging on the door too, correct?
Yeah. I'd have to
If it would help
look
you
at
to
it.
refresh, it's on page 15 of your report at the top.
Yeah, she had 3 recordings that she played for us.
Okay. And could you describe what was on the third one for the jury that, what sounds, I don't need you to describe it, it was 23 seconds, what sounded like banging on the door, correct?
On the 23-second video,
Yeah.
I just said it did not capture any other sounds. The third video clip recorded was 28 seconds in length and captured what sounded like banging on the door above W2, which was Miss Goodman was her apartment, so the apartment above her.
Okay, and when she showed you those videos, how did she show you those videos?
She played them on her phone.
Just holding out with
Just-
an iPhone or an Android, or?
I can't remember what type of phone it was, but yeah, just holding on her hand.
And so did you obtain those videos from her that day or at a later date?
That day, we captured it on a body worn camera just so we would have it in case. But then she did provide it later, where we actually had a downloaded copy of it.
Did she bring her phone to the station, or did she email them to you? How did you obtain them?
I can't remember how exactly. She did come in and give a written statement, so I believe she brought her phone and it was emailed to us or downloaded from them.
Then, okay, but it came directly from her cell phone,
Yes,
and you personally did it. Did you personally download the video to send to the district attorney's office?
yes, yeah. The copy I had, yes, I did.
Okay, so you provided it.
I did.
And in the 4-minute video, 4 minutes and 7 seconds, could you tell us what you observed on that video?
Yes, the audio, it sounded like a violent fight taking place upstairs. You could hear some voices, you could hear things smashing. At one point, you can hear a female voice that says, "Get off me," yells, "Get off me." And then The other yelling was inaudible. We really couldn't understand what they were saying. It was just, you could tell that people were yelling.
But then you go on to say that there was loud smashing and shattering sounds, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you've listened to and you've watched it again this morning?
Yes.
Okay. And you would agree that that video is an accurate representation of the video that you provided to the district attorney's office?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, do we have sufficient evidence or predicate to request it, or do we want to wait until we can?
Do you want him to look?
Judge, the state won't object if they want to play the video.
Okay.
Okay, let's go ahead and mark it. Have you marked it?
No, I've written on it, but I need to just stick around here.
Is this the second one?
Just to say, Judge, we have some pre-marked exhibits. I think this is going to be 8, but let me double check.
Okay.
Governor, this will be defense exhibit number 8.
So, my understanding is that state objecting to defense exhibit 8.
Stated object.
Okay, defense exhibit 8 is admitted and may be published.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I approach?
Yes.
And I would normally hand this to you for authentication, but we didn't have this to hand it to you, but now we'll play defense exhibit 8. This is low.
Yes, ma'am.
And just for the record, there's really nothing to see except for the end with the cat, correct?
Yes.
At one point, she pans down and gets the cat. Maybe describe for the jury what's you can see on the video a little bit so that the record's clear on just the video portion.
This is the ceiling of her apartment, which would be, of course, below the floor of the victim's apartment.
Okay, thank you. I'm just gonna restart it over. There's a few sounds. So Detective, just to reiterate, Quinn Goodman lived in apartment 16307, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Which is directly below 16407.
Yes.
To go through the text messages. Here, the ones that we just went through. They're up here. Okay. I'm here. I'm sorry, Your Honor, may I approach? On State's Exhibit 101, I'm handing the witness. Detective, the calls, these are text messages, correct?
Yes.
And the message sent to Sasha, I'm assuming because that's the only message that we have, is it was received by Sasha from Martel's phone, correct?
Yes.
And who's the person directly above that?
Alice Gaither
Okay, and that was on January 22nd, 2021, correct?
Yes,
So this goes from most recent to oldest on this screen, correct? At the top is the newest text messages, either sent or received.
correct.
And is there any way to know whether these texts were received or sent by looking at them?
By looking at them here,
Yes.
no, I don't know.
Did you look at the phone messages like Alice Gaither and see whether he sent that or whether he received that?
No, the only one I looked at was for Sasha.
Okay, so we don't know whether he texted Alice shortly after he texted Sasha.
I don't know. It would be in the phone
Right.
data extraction.
But we don't have that, right?
It was done.
Okay, did you provide it to the state?
Yes.
Okay, would it surprise you that Alice Gaither is Sasha's mom?
No.
Okay, thank you. So there were several messages sent or received, we are not sure by what we have, after the text message at 8:55, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever known people to send text to, I don't want to use a colloquial term, cover for themselves to be somewhere that they're not, or like an alibi, or to send content out to cover something so that it's documented?
Have I
Encountered that?
Have I encountered that?
29 years of police work.
I can't say that I have.
Okay. Of the witnesses that you interviewed, I believe you also spoke to an Alan Nichols. Does that
Yes.
sound familiar?
Uh-huh.
And I'm not sure what page on your report. It's on page 6. Yes. Could you look at page 6 for us, Detective?
Yes.
Okay. So who is Eric Eaglehart or Eaglehart?
Eric identified himself as a past boyfriend of the defendants.
Alan Nichols, I'm sorry.
Alan Nichols was a resident there at La Cantera Apartments.
I'm trying to find in your report where your interview with him.
It's just noted on page 6 under other 5 or 05.
So you didn't put any narrative for his statement?
Right below, you'll see a statement excerpt.
Okay, so I'm just looking one sentence, I'm looking at the line below. So if we look up at 05, did you tell us who Alan Nicholas is?
He was an occupant in apartment number 16406.
So where would that be in relation to the Martell's apartment?
I believe it's across the hall and one apartment down. So the neighbor of
Catty corner down?
Caroline, if that makes sense.
Yes. Catty corner.
Catty corner.
Okay, diagonal from his front door, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And Alan Nicholas gave, through your investigation, did you find that he gave Sasha a phone charger?
No,
Didn't you have a phone call with Mr. Nicholas?
we did. Or I did, yes.
Did you review that before coming in to testify today?
I did not.
At this time, Judge, I'm going to object in here, say that counsel's asking of this witness regarding Mr. Nicholas.
Turning to the gun basket. The gun basket where through the course of your investigation, I believe, I'm not sure if it was you or the prior detective, Molina. There was the testimony that the gun was taken from his apartment and the gun basket is located. Do you remember where it was in the apartment?
The gun case?
No, the basket with the magazine in it.
Oh, when I saw it, it was on the floor just outside the closet, or right by the closet door.
Okay. And in that basket was a magazine with bullets in it, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And other gun type of, was there, it looks like phone chargers maybe. Your Honor, may I approach? Yes. Handing defense exhibit, or state's exhibit. So in this basket is the magazine, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it common for people to keep their guns in accessible places or in a gun case up at the top of the closet?
It depends on, I guess, their thinking. If they want it accessible for self-defense in case somebody breaks into their apartment, they would have it out and accessible.
Okay. Would it make sense that this basket might have been by the nightstand or somewhere more accessible than inside the closet?
It may have been.
And the basket is not inside the closet, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Right there. Your Honor, may I approach again? Yes. I'm handing Detective 66, State's Exhibit 67 and 75. Does it appear that the basket would fit on the lower shelf of the nightstand next to his bed?
Looks like it would.
Okay, thank you. On the Your Honor, may I approach again? Yes. I'm handing you what's marked as State's Exhibit 9 and 10. Do you recognize any of these officers in 9 and 10?
Yes.
Are you in any of these pictures?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Which one, pick an officer that you know the best, personally.
There's only one officer, Officer Cerna.
Oh, and these are maintenance?
Yes.
Okay, so Cerna's standing a little bit further back. Do you remember looking at the front door with the bullet hole?
Yes.
Did you take any measurements of that front door?
I did not.
Did you measure how high the bullet hole was from the ground?
No.
Would you agree that it would be helpful to know, like, at what height maybe the gun was fired from, or?
It would help, but we can see here that it's right by the peephole.
The problem is, I don't know how tall these people are. Do you have any idea how tall the maintenance guys were?
Various heights.
Okay. Does that door knocker and peephole appear to be at a standard height?
No, I look lower.
It looks lower, correct? Because the apartment door sign is a little bit higher where doors normally have a peephole. The peepholes are normally on most doors between this peephole and where the door sign is, correct?
I don't know. I mean, it could be that there could be a standard. I don't know.
Could be an
Or where
ADA
it should be,
standard, would you
right.
agree? Okay,
Yes.
but it does seem a little unusually low, or lower than most standard peepholes.
It looks lower than
Okay.
ones I'm used to seeing.
Okay, thank you. Detective, did you insert, and we're debating about this on what they're called, the plunget or the trajectory stick?
Rod, a trajectory rod?
A trajectory rod is what it's called.
Yes.
Did you insert that into the door?
No.
Who did that?
If that was done, it was completed by CSI personnel.
Okay, would it surprise you that he testified yesterday that he did not
No,
insert that? Okay, so various CSI responded to the scene?
yes,
Okay, do you know who responded to the scene?
I would have to check.
That could have potentially inserted the trajectory rod?
I know one was CSI ANZ, ANZ was one. I have to look at the list of responding officers and CSI to tell you for sure who.
Okay, did you review that trajectory rod that was in the door?
I did not.
Did you review the photos of it?
No. Well, I reviewed the crime scene photo, so if it's included in that, I did see it.
Okay. Did you, as a part of your investigation, do you normally create diagrams in this case, correct?
I don't. All that is completed by the CSI personnel.
Okay. You didn't do a hand sketch?
No, ma'am.
So that was all ons or ands?
Yes.
Okay. Do you normally investigate where a person might be standing and how a gun was fired in a situation like this?
Yes.
Did you in this case?
In this case, it was pretty clear.
Clear as to where she was standing and how the bullet entered the door?
From looking at the bullet hole in the door and where the injury is on the victim, it was pretty simple to determine where that bullet came from.
What?
And the trajectory.
I couldn't give you an exact angle, but I can tell you it was from right outside the door,
Okay.
you know.
And based on the peephole height, what
Right.
do you approximate how high the bullet hole was?
It was slightly, maybe an inch or two above the peephole and to the left of it. So I'd say the peephole was probably about 5 feet high, maybe a little more.
Maybe a little bit lower. Okay.
What we gonna do, y'all? We gonna stop right here, okay? With the Lawerence Saiz. Yeah, we'll stop right here. On you just finished watching day 2 trial, and we're gonna put this together and find out what happened to this young man. Y'all like, share, and subscribe. I'm out.